Holy shit, this show was so bloody good. Who would have thought a side story about a character whose name people couldn't even remember from a Star Wars film a large portion of the audience didn't even watch would end up being one of the best live action Star Wars projects to date? But before we go any further, spoiler warning for all things Andor Season 1, Season 2 and Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. And if you're new here, then hey, my name is Jackson and welcome to this ever-growing channel where we discuss all things TV and film, so why not subscribe and let's dive back into this video. In my humble opinion, Andor Season 1 and Season 2, and the movie Rogue One, are right up there with Empire Strikes Back, individually and as a collective package. Sure, some people make the argument all the time about how Andor is boring and slow-paced, and I acknowledge that probably is the case for some of you out there, especially those that are used to fast, immediate content courtesy of TikTok and YouTube Shorts. But for those of you out there who can still stomach and appreciate a proper show in 2025, with proper writing, acting, character and plot build-up, then this show is up there with some of the best around. Episodes 7, 8 and 9 of Andor Season 2 showcases this perfectly, with some of the best television ever produced, period. And if you think I'm all gas, no breaks, check out the user and critic scores in particular for episodes 8 and 9.
See, I'm all gas, no breaks with it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Season 2's opening 3-episode arc didn't do itself any favours, in what probably is the worst arc in both seasons. But it still has standout moments with director Krennic and the Empire, and sets the stage for the most beautiful yet tragic ending I've seen in a long time. The fact Bix and B2 Emo get a somewhat happy ending in an otherwise bleak story is a powerful way to sign off on why the rebellion is so important. The ending of Andor Season 2 is so well done, it even elevates further the already excellent ending of Rogue One. With one life starting, another one ends, and you just know that when Bix is walking through that field with Cassian's son, Cassian is unfortunately meeting his maker on Scarif after a job well done. As George Lucas once said, it's like poetry, it rhymes.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme, every stanza kind of rhymes with the last one.
The last time I ugly cried was during the end of the last Bond film, so fair play Tony Gilroy and the rest of the team.
Fair play, mate. Fair play.
For tugging at my heartstrings and hitting this dad right in the feels. As I've already touched on, Andor Season 2, just like Season 1, is so excellently produced. From hair and makeup, sets, visual effects, on-location shoots to name a few, Tony Gilroy's vision truly comes alive, and the excellent production value is met by equally excellent writing and acting. The cast throughout all shine, but I have to pay respect to the wonderful Genevieve O'Reilly, who excelled in her portrayal of Senator and Rebel leader Mon Mothma. It would be an absolute travesty if she isn't nominated for her fine work, and the scene with her speech against the Emperor in the Senate gives me goosebumps just thinking about it.
I stand before you this morning with a heavy heart.
Shout out to everyone's favourite Imperial couple, Dedra and Cyril. I don't think any other show has made me so invested in a relationship between two characters that are downright bad, and that's a testament again to both the writing and the acting. The fate of Dedra and Cyril is so well crafted and makes you empathetic to their plight, as they slowly realise they were just pawns the whole time. Hot take, but I genuinely think Cyril could be one of the best written characters in all of Star Wars. And that moment where Cassian says, "Who are you?" Masterful.
Who are you?
Another area of contention has always been about the lack of aliens or diversity within the scope of Andor. Sure, most of the supporting cast and extras are British actors, and human in the context of species, but I think that's intentional both from a storytelling perspective and from a Star Wars galaxy perspective. Humans as we know them are definitely the higher class species in the galaxy, with the odd exceptions of course, Jar Jar Binks. And are mostly found on the core worlds, where a lot of Andor is set, so it makes sense to me. I think it's easier to convey a compelling emotional story about fascism and the formation of a rebellion when it's grounded to humanity, and therefore I have no issue with this. I do get it though, part of the appeal of sci-fi and Star Wars in general is different alien species and droids being brought to life on the big screen, so I think it's a valid criticism. It just doesn't bother me like it does some of the fandom. Another criticism thrown at this show is about the lack of the Force, lightsabers, big players like Vader and so forth, but again I appreciate the less is more approach. Whilst it would have been nice to see Palpatine in the Senate I think it's so well shot and written that it's just not needed. There are elements of the Force at play in this season, with the introduction of a Force healer, who implies that Andor is a messenger of the Force, and even hints that he could be Force sensitive.
He's a messenger.
Shout out to production for making stormtroopers genuinely intimidating again. It's been a while since their presence evoked such dread, but rounding up all the citizens of Gorman into the square was absolutely terrifying. In summary, Andor Season 2, and the Andor series as a whole, is truly some of the best live-action Star Wars media we've ever had, and I would 100% recommend this to anyone, even your nan. However, I acknowledge it won't be everyone's cup of tea, with its slower build and mature themes. And some of you just want those lightsabers. But that's the beauty of Star Wars, as a creative canvas. It enables opportunities for shows like this to exist when you have a passionate team willing to take risks. And Andor deserves to sit side by side with some of the more traditional space opera formats one is used to with Star Wars. And that's it for this video, folks. But now it's your turn to let me know what your thoughts are about Andor in the comments below. Do you agree with the overall narrative that this is some of the best Star Wars ever? Or do you have a different opinion on all of this? Either way, I'd love to know, so let me know in the comments and let's talk some Star Wars. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider giving it a like on the way out. Subscribe to the channel for more TV and film content if you haven't already. My short-term goal is to hit that elusive 1K sub club, and I can only get there with your help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I hope things work out for you.
Rebellions are built on hope.